Well, here I am, Dean Braxton, and I am sitting underneath a B-52 bomber D-class. There's a G-class too, but this is a D-class. This was one of the first type of class they have, and the reason I'm sitting here is this bench I'm sitting on was recently just dedicated to my father, and many of you know he went on to be with the Lord last year, and he was a B-52 radio navigator, and this bench is really under the area where he would have been sitting. But really what I want to talk about besides that is I've been going through the book, and I'm at the part where it says I've seen Jesus, and a lot of times people come up to me and they'll say, what does he look like? And I'll say he looks just like John said in Revelation, the first chapter. I like to just go over some of the scriptures that John says. I was in the Spirit on the Lord's day when I heard behind me a loud voice like a trumpet. And John goes on to say some things, and then he says, in the 12th verse, he says, I turned to see whose voice was speaking to me. And when I did so, I saw 7 gold lampstands, and in the midst of the lampstands was one like the Son of Man. He was dressed in a robe extending down to his feet, and he wore a wide golden belt around his chest. His head, listen to this, his head and his hair were as white as wool, even as white as snow, and his eyes were like a fiery flame. His feet were like polished brass, refined in furnace, and his voice was like the roar of a many waters. I could go on, but this is John saying this, and people ask me all the time, they say, what did he look like? I'll be honest with you, it's hard for me to get past the love that I experienced from him. To talk about what he looks like is secondary to the experience of the love you receive from Jesus. You know, in Romans, the 8th chapter, starting at the 37th verse, it talks about how the love of God comes through Jesus. It says nothing will be able to separate us from that love. That's what I like to describe a lot of times. I can tell you what I experienced, I can tell you what I saw, but a lot of times, even as John says here, it's like this. But the reality of it, nothing's like that love. That's great to know, you know. If you want to know more information about the ministry and Dean Braxton and what we do, go to deanbraxton.com. If you like what we said, put like on it. If you want to pass it on, I would really encourage you to pass it on to others. It's not about what he looks like, it's how he loves you. Again, this is deanbraxton.com.